Okay, thank you. So the recording has started. Let me share my screen. I have some people in the chat. Let me accept them quickly, then quickly we can start. Really sorry. I was having a little bit of technical challenges here, but we are good to go now. So we are starting today the DAG Meetup. Welcome to the DAG Meetup Ghana. And today we have our own Samuel Alimo, who will take us from data to decisions, best practices for creating engaging Power BI dashboards. And the main agenda for today is at least, I think we have already spent 8 minutes, so I won't do any welcoming introduction, but I'm sure as we move on, I'll touch on that. Well, I will touch on the DAG highlight, what DAG is all about, and touch on the DAG community, and also move straight to Samuel's presentation. The meeting rules is this is really a community of engagement. If you are not on mic or you are not talking, you try to mute yourself when you are not speaking. You need to stay engaged. We need to respect each other. And also all we want to do here is we want to learn from each other. That is the main stuff we really want to do here. So let me tell you or talk to you a little bit about what DAG Ghana stands for. Okay. So really, the tag name is DAG Meetup. It's really a community for building, encouraging connection, and empowering education. Really, it was founded in 1995 by a dynamic user group, which was based in the US, and the whole community was focused on Microsoft Dynamics community. And it began as an online discussion forum where people with knowledge were really sharing contents and training programs and interacting with each other. But I'm sure during the COVID time, they moved more into virtual space where they were now communicating more, doing virtual and in-person events. And with the DAG community, we have online events, we have regional meetups, and there's also a sponsorship opportunities in there. That is for those who are into the sales of Microsoft Office products and do a lot of business concerning or surrounding Microsoft. Now, to join the community is a free community for users, and really, if you're also a reseller of Microsoft business applications, you can also join. And the mission is really to support Microsoft Dynamics 365, Dynamic GP, Power Platform community of application users, and also professionals, at least by empowering community members with the tools and information required to excel and grow in the profession. As I said, the main purpose is to build community, encourage connection, and empowering education. Now, the rules of engagement, as I mentioned earlier on, it's really a place where we want to connect and learn more about Microsoft Dynamics and Power Platform, and also engage at a regional level, and which we have a regional program coming up, which I'll give more details into it. And this is one of the local group when it comes to the DAG. Now, in terms of the DAG user group programs, it's focused on, as I initially said, it's a free to join, and it's focused on Business Central, customer engagement, finance and supply, Dynamic GP, Power Platform, and also leadership. And we have programs which run through online free forums, free virtual year-round product content. We have what we call the DynamicsCon live in-person event, which normally is a conference. The current one will happen in Chicago in May. Then we have a regional meetup. Regional meetup, we have one happening in Ghana in the month of July 19th. I'll give more details about that as we proceed. Then we have the DynamicsCon virtual event, which is also a big one, normally happens in the month of November. Then we have some on-demand conferences and training classes also in this particular group. Now, these are some of the regional meetups, as I mentioned earlier, which is really coming on. So we have the Philadelphia one, which is happening on the March 12th. It's an in-person one and regional meetup. We have Canada happening in June 16th and 17th. Then we have the West African one happening in Ghana. And then we have the East African one also happening in July 24th to 25th. I'm sure most of us who have joined the call today will be much interested in what is happening in West Africa. So let me take this opportunity to give a little briefing about that. It will happen on July 19th. The venue will be the Fiesta Royale at Johulu. Already Sessionize is out. Those who want to be called for speakers, those who really want to speak in such program can really join. Apply to speak at the program. I will share the link for the Sessionize in the chat very soon. And also, it's very important that so far as you want to be a member of the DAG Ghana, you download the Meetup and register on it. Meetup is a social, more like a social platform where when you go in, there are a lot of programs happening there. All that you have to do is look for Microsoft Dynamics 365 Power Platform Meetup Ghana, and you can register in there to attend our programs. And I'll share the link also. Currently, we have over 800 plus membership, and we also have our LinkedIn page very, very active. There are other regional meetups, which is also happening August 21st in Denver. Then we have Ohio, which will happen in August. Then we have the European one, which will happen in Denmark, Copenhagen, September 4th, and Texas one, which will take place in September 17th, Dallas. Then another one, I think Tampa, they have had their own already, but next year I'm sure they will repeat in the same January 14th. So that is it. As I said, the DynamicsCon, which will happen in May 13th to 16th, which is the big one, which will happen in Chicago. Those who are also interested can also register to attend. I'm sure that is that for the brief up on Dynamic or DAG Ghana. I'm sure if you have any question, I'm sure we'll come to that session. So let me move back and please note that if you have any question, you can also put it in the chat box and we will respond accordingly. I want to finish up with the Ghana one, as I mentioned. So with the Ghana one, as I said, we have over 800 plus leadership 5. We have previous programs. We have held some previous programs and way back. We had the deep dive into free Microsoft Copilot AI mobile, which was really championed by Chimo Kerry, MVP and an MCT based in the UK. We also have Michelle Albright, who really talked to us about project operation. It's more than Gantt chart by Michelle Albright based in the US. We had some in-person meeting where we had Samuel Majua, at least our local group, Thomas, coming in to also touch on important topics concerning Power Platform and Business Central and also cybersecurity. And we also had one from our own, Ben Nate, who really touched on maximizing Dynamics 365 CRM and sales. And we also had our own Jeremy Combi, who also touched on the evolution of Business Central last year, September. So that's what we have been doing. And today, we are lucky to have our own Samuel to really take us through from data to decisions, best practices for creating engaging Power BI dashboard. So Samuel, I'll hand over to you now, and you take us through. I don't know if you share from your end or you like me to share the content from my end.
I'm sharing from my end.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Should my camera be on?
This is what will make you feel comfortable. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine with me.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Fred. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this session this evening. So yeah, since Fred has already started, I just continue. Like he said, I'm a solution consultant. I'm based in Norway. We are Microsoft partners, so anything Microsoft related. Currently, I'm focusing on AI, specifically Copilot activities. Yeah. So tonight, I'm not talking about Copilot. We are looking at from data to decisions, best practices for creating engaging Power BI dashboards. Please, if maybe you can put in the chat, let me know your level of interactions with maybe Power BI. I saw someone said he was new, a beginner, but if maybe any of you can also put in the chat so I know you are with me this evening. Okay, beginner too. Okay, okay. All right, so maybe as we go in, feel free to let's interact. If you have a question, you can just stop me or just put it in the chat and I'll try to respond. So, from data to decisions, best practices for creating engaging Power BI dashboards. Yes, okay. So, it's so easy to look at this topic and maybe focus on one side. Okay, we are creating engaging Power BI dashboards, but at the same time, too, we are looking at data to decision. So, whatever dashboard we are creating or whatever we are working with, at the end of the day, it shouldn't just be about creating a beautiful dashboard. At the end of the day, that dashboard you are going to create should be able to help whoever is at the receiving end to make very good decisions regarding companies or wherever they are going to use it. Yeah. So I'm going to go through maybe introduction. As I was preparing, I realized that maybe I have to bring in this term, technology acceptance model, just to buttress what I'm coming to talk about this evening. So, yes, if you are in the, how do you call it, information systems area, you understand maybe some form of models that are used, and I'm sure you'll be open to this idea of term. And also, we are going to look at reasons why some dashboards fail, because I believe dashboards have been in existence not today, since. But the question is, how many of these dashboards fail over time? The other thing we'll look at is just an overview of Power BI dashboards. Then we go behind the Power BI dashboard. Then we focus more on maybe data visualization. Then we look at real-time data, and then conclusion, then questions and answers. Yes. So statistics shows that over 65% of organizations rely on dashboard for decision making. So over here, uh, almost everything is driven by data. And even in this era of co-pilots, it's like they keep hammering it. Get your house in order. In other words, get your data well structured. And very big organizations use data to make decisions. Decisions are not made based on sentiments and emotions. It's like we need the facts. And if we need the facts, we need data to be able to do that. But the truth is that 70% of dashboards fail also due to poor design or unclear what objectives. So if you look at the combination of the topic, we are looking at from data to decisions, but at the same time, we also want to focus on how to create what engaging dashboards. So meaning it's possible for you to have very good data, but your visualizations will not be something that will cause people to want to use it. So, if you are designing a dashboard, you should have some questions in mind that you think about. Why am I designing this dashboard? Will people want to use it? These questions are very critical when you are designing. So, why is it that some dashboards fail? Like, people spend so much money, so much time, like trying to design a dashboard, at the end of the day, it's just put somewhere. Maybe the whole company, only the sales manager is going to use that dashboard, but meanwhile, someone is being paid. I was looking at some courses online, and some people are charging $3,000 just to teach Power BI. So imagine if you are paying $3,000, how much are they going to charge if they actually design a dashboard for you? So it's very important to design foolproof dashboards that you know that this thing I'm working on, I'm spending my time on, my people are going to use it. So, what are some of the reasons why dashboards fail? The first one is poor design or unclear objectives. Ask yourself, why do I want to design this dashboard? Is it because someone is asking for it? Is it because we have data that we want to interpret? Because if you have data accumulated over the years, obviously you want to do something meaningful with the data. But if it's just for designing sake, then you have to look at your objective, why you actually need a Power BI dashboard. I worked sometime back in Ghana, and in a company where you don't so much rely on data, even though we had so much data accumulated.
Samuel, I think you are muted. Can't hear you. And please, if you join the meeting, kindly mute yourself.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. So, poor design or unclear objective. So, before you do anything, you want to create a dashboard, you have to have a specific objective as to why you are doing it. So, also neglecting user needs. The dashboards you are creating, it's not just about you. If it's about you, then you are okay with whatever you come up with. But if it is others who are going to use it, then it's important that you know the needs of the people you want to use this dashboard. It's very important. Okay. The other thing too is lack of interactivity. So you can create a dashboard that is so static, it's not dynamic. It makes it very difficult because in this era and age, if you are designing something, you have to take into consideration the fact that things have to be dynamic on your page or on your dashboard. So, inconsistent design, ignoring data refresh and accuracy, overloading with what data. These are some of the reasons why they fail. So the main objective now is if we are able to address why they fail, then obviously we are going to be able to create very engaging dashboards that users are mostly going to use. So as I was thinking about it, the first question that came to mind was, why do people use technology in the first place? So when I say technology, I'm sure many of us will just be moving maybe hardware, but there's also software, and we can also consider dashboards to be part of technology. So why, as an accountant, why do you want your accountant in your company to use your dashboard? Why do you want your sales manager to use your dashboard? So I'm going to draw from the TAM model, technology acceptance model, which applies to technology, to apply it to this evening's topic that we are looking at. So I want us to do this. Some quick questions that if we can put some answers in the chat, it will be great so that I know I'm not alone and you are here with me. So how do you measure the effectiveness of your Power BI dashboards in improving decision-making processes within your organization? That is, if you use dashboards in your organization, how do you measure the effectiveness? How do you measure the effectiveness? Because if you are going to design something okay, we are designing a dashboard. At the end of the day, we should be able to measure whether the dashboard was able to serve its intended purpose. So, back to you again. In your organization, how do you measure it? Anything you would like to share with us, you are free to put it in the chat. Okay, the next question. Have you ever struggled with a data tool because it was too complex? What specific aspect made it difficult to use? So we are talking about dashboards, and it's important for us to understand that we can make dashboards so complex that our end users will find it difficult to use. But when it comes to you, it will be easy for you to use because you created it. It will be easy because you are the analyst. So obviously, you know your tools, you know your way around it. But the truth is that you are not the one who is going to use the dashboard mostly. So, do you consider your end users when you are designing? Do you consider them? Do you make it very simple for them to be able to use it, or you just complicate it with some wild things that eventually it's like only people who are highly skilled are able to maybe interact with it? When that happens, it's like you lose a certain percentage of people who actually need the dashboard. The next question: how do you think your team will react to adopting or using your Power BI dashboard? What factors might influence their acceptance? For instance, you want to have like a very engaging dashboard that can help people make decisions. But how can you ensure that those you are creating it for, they will adopt it and they will start using it? At the end of the day, it's critical so that your dashboard does not become one of the other dashboards that were created. But something that what you know that management actually wants, you know that the end users actually want and they will love to use. The next question: what steps will you take to encourage your colleagues to adapt Power BI dashboards in their workflows? It looks like it's just questions, but you see, when you put all these questions together, it will come back to you as the designer or as the analyst whether I'm on the right track with this dashboard or I should look out for something else. What types of data are most critical for your decision making processes? Because even though we have several or lots of data, not all the data will make sense when you want to what? Visualize it. So you have to consider, okay, which of this data is very critical that can help the company or the department, sales department, marketing to really what? Make a concrete and accurate decision. So as you are designing, have all these things at the back of your mind, because this is going to reflect in how you manipulate the data, is going to reflect in how you visualize what? The data. And the last question I want us to think about: how do you ensure that your dashboards remain relevant and useful over time as your business needs evolve? This one, to me, it's like very critical, because you can create a dashboard, you can have it engaging, but it will just be used for the moment. Afterwards, no one goes back to it. Imagine the time, imagine the cost. If you are the one who designed it, how would you feel? Where is like what you have, it's just like the developer of the iPhone, like you develop such a nice phone and people actually don't use it. You are going to lose money. Not just money, but even morale, confidence to even go and do something again, because it's like you are disengaged from the users, the actual users of what? The technology. So what does TAM suggest for us? So technology acceptance model, it says was a framework that allows a person to understand the cognitive processes within users and how they respond to adopting and integrating a new piece of technology within their lives. So if you have maybe a section of the company who are so used to Excel and you are trying to propose what Power BI and data visualization. Yes, Excel can do some of them, but now tonight the focus is on what? Power BI. You want to introduce them to Power BI. How do you ensure that they are actually going to what? Accept this technology or this Power BI dashboard you are trying to bring in and actually use it? Because most of them already are comfortable with what? Their Excel. So if they are comfortable with their Excel and you are now bringing in something, so if they are comfortable with their Excel, that's kind of falls more into what? External variables. The external variables are the things that the people are already what? Used to, they are familiar with. So if you look at the external variables, it breaks down into what? Two key things. Perceived usefulness. So when your people at work that you want to design this dashboard for, when they see the dashboard or when they even hear you talk about it, do they perceive it to be something that is going to be useful to them, or they feel like I've been using Excel for a very long time, I don't think I need any other tool? In the same way, do they perceive ease of use, or they think that I'm comfortable with Excel, I'm now going to learn this Power BI stuff? And so if you don't consider all this, yes, you create a very engaging dashboard, but at the end of the day, it will add to the number of failed dashboards because the users are not going to use it because they are comfortable with their Excel spreadsheet. So perceived usefulness, when you are creating a dashboard, you should have in mind that how are my people going to respond? Would they perceive this thing to be something that is going to be useful, that is going to enhance or increase performance for them? Would they perceive it to be something that will be so easy for them to use? If so, then their attitude towards it can either be what? Positive or negative, depending on these two things, their perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use. So positive or negative attitude, it applies to not just dashboard, but if you pick any technology now, even in this era of AI, you could see that people are like very skeptical about, hey, we don't want AI, like, so it's like something that happens cognitively, something that happens within us that sometimes we are not aware because of what? Some external variables that are at play. So if it is positive, then their behavior and intention will certainly push them in the direction of use, and they will actually what? Use your dashboard. So I'm going to try to incorporate like three of the constructs. The main thing I want to focus on is these two: perceived ease of use and perceived usefulness. So if you are creating an engaging dashboard, no matter the elements or the visuals you want to bring in, make sure that your people can perceive that this thing will be free of effort. I can easily use it. Because when that shift happens in their mind, they will actually use the dashboards that you are going to create. Perceived usefulness. Can you give them an advantage that using this dashboard, you have so much that Excel may not be able to give you? Can you give them? Can they see it for themselves that this thing can enhance or improve my performance at work? If these two things are in place, then know that they are actually going to use what? the dashboard. If they are not in place, forget it. No matter how nice or beautiful your designs, your visuals are, chances are that only one person will use it and they will not come back to it again. So it's important for us to know this so that anytime you are on a project to design a dashboard or something, you consider that. So let's have an overview, quick overview of the Power BI dashboard. So this is a typical dashboard. So a Power BI dashboard is a single page, often called a canvas, that tells a story through what? Visualization. So from data to what? To decisions. So you look at the data itself doesn't tell so much, but when you put the data through process and you visualize it, can it help your organization to make very sound decisions? Okay, so we saw this BI dashboard. It looks so beautiful, but now I want us to go behind the scene of what actually happens behind a BI dashboard. So when you go behind it's mostly your end users are just going to see one thing, which is what? The data visualization. If you permit, that's the only thing you are going to give them access to see. But behind the data visualization is the data transformation and the data modeling. This too is very critical if you want to have an engaging dashboard, because sometimes we focus more on aesthetics and lose sight of the data transformation and the data modeling, because they don't work in isolation, they work hand in hand. So to convert what raw data into a format that is suitable for analysis, you need data transformation. It's going to take you what? Time to be able to do that. So spend time on actually what? Working on your data. Working on your data. Don't just jump straight away to what? Data visualization because you want to have nice dashboards, colorful and all that. It's good. But at the end of the day, can your organization make decisions or get critical insight from that visualization? If the data transformation and data modeling is not done properly, chances are that it will affect the data visualization. You may represent false data to the people. So let's look at data transformation and modeling. So when it comes to data transformation, there are some critical things we have to look at: cleaning, shaping, and enriching. So you see, when you pick a data or a data set in Excel or something, wherever your data storage is, you have to convert that raw data into a format that is suitable for analysis. And you see, in Power BI, we have the Power Query Editor. This helps you to what? To clean, to shape, and to enrich your data. So cleaning, you have to spend so much time because sometimes you have duplicates in your data. If you have duplicates and you go ahead to model and you go ahead to visualize, chances are that you have false representation. You cannot make decisions based on that kind of data. So spend much time cleaning your data. Spend much time cleaning your data, removing duplicates, handling missing values, and correcting errors. If it has to take you time, just take time and do it before you jump to what? Visualization. The next thing is shaping. Sometimes you have to restructure the data, such as pivoting and unpivoting tables, so that you can get like the true reflection of your data. True reflection of your data. So proper data preparation is essential for accurate and reliable dashboards. Accurate and reliable dashboards. So when the data is clean, you know that the management or whoever is receiving that dashboard can't trust the data. So after data transformation, the next thing we focus on is what? The data modeling. The process of structuring data to support efficient analysis. In other words, we are trying to what? Create relationships between the data. Okay, maybe someone is in sales department. How do I represent? Do we have different sales departments within the organization that are in different locations? How can I create a relationship between maybe those in maybe Tema to those in Accra to those in Kumasi? How do I create a relationship between, because they are all part of the sales department, but the other thing that differentiates them is that they are in different locations. So maybe I need a relationship to be able to establish proper what data support between them. So don't just isolate data. Try to find a common relationship between all this data you are trying to work with. And when it comes to data modeling, again, we have what? Measures and what? DAX, using DAX data analysis expressions to create new metrics and calculations. New metrics and calculations. So also something I'll touch on is what? Setting the data types, ensuring each column has the correct data type and category. This is also very important because sometimes it may be a number that is showing up as a text. Sometimes it's a date column, but you've not paid attention to it. You are treating it as a text, and all this can go a long way to affect your data model. So it's important to look at each column, look at each data type. What kind of data type is it? Then you can be able, is it a currency? Like, is it a dates column? Like, check all this, because at the end of the day, as for creating engaging dashboards, you can just follow the process, but you can create it and all these things underneath the dashboards are not correct. And by so doing, you know that your company is going to what? Make wrong decisions based on the visualization you've given. So the next thing I'm going to move on is now data visualization. So after you get your data transformation, data modeling correct, now let's focus on what? Data visualization. So at the back of your mind, you know that whatever I'm doing, I'm creating a dashboard that my people are going to love, my people are going to actually use. So data visualization. How many of us have created dashboards before in our companies, or maybe you are the one responsible for creating dashboards? Maybe you are not the, I'm sure some are end users, but maybe you are responsible for creating dashboards in your company. Do we have some people? Okay, so data visualization. If you are talking about best practices, when you have data transformation and data modeling in place, the next best practice to follow is what? Data visualization. Because this is now the time where you are going to represent the data graphically to make it understandable and actionable. Because when you give that spreadsheet to your boss, he's just seeing numbers. He doesn't know what to do with it. But after you've gone through the data cleaning, the data modeling, now you want to give him something that can actually make sense to him. In other words, something that will be engaging for him to actually use to make decisions. So if you take, for instance, the Excel sheets on top, you could see that it's just data. If you are the analyst, you can look at it and you can tell something, like you can see something, a trend or something out of this spreadsheet. But maybe to another end user, they look at the spreadsheet and all they see is what? Columns and rows. And they can't tell anything. They just see created date, updated. But when you put it in an actual dashboard, like the one below, The person looks on the dashboard and the first thing they see is total issues, number of issues. Okay, so the company has this number of issues. Then he looks to the next KPI and he sees that, oh, current done issues, meaning we are actually working on the issues. So you could see that there is a difference between the data and a difference between the data that has gone through process of transformation, modeling, and has been visualized. So for us to have what? Proper data visualization, the first thing we have to do is to learn to what? Define clear objectives. Define clear objectives. For you to be able to create engaging what? Dashboards. It's important to define clear objectives from the word go. And when I mean objectives, like identify the key questions. Determine the specific questions your dashboard should answer. So I'm creating a dashboard. What dashboard are you creating? What are you creating it for? So maybe if I'm creating it for sales, sales want to know our monthly sales trend. How much money did we make in January? How much money did we make in what? February? How much money did we make in what? Maybe December? How much money did we make over the year? How much money did we make 2024? You could see that there is a clear objective. They want to know from the data that they have how much money they made last year, how much money they made this month. So an objective has been set in place. So if you are designing, you know that what? This is what? Something that underlines that dashboard. And when you look at the data, that is what you are trying to find so that you can put on the what? The visuals. When you look at those trends, it's the same. They can also come and tell you that, oh, we want to know which products are actually what? Underperforming. Because sometimes as a sales company, like you are selling different things, but you can tell that some products are doing well more than other products. How can you tell? It's from the data. But just by looking at the data, sometimes you can't tell the complete story. So this should set what? A certain objective for you when you are setting out to what? To design a dashboard. Because as for dashboards, everyone can go learn Power BI and just start doing. But is there an objective to what you are doing? So for us to create engaging what? Dashboard, one of the key things for us to always have in mind is to have what? An objective. An objective. Set measurable goals. Define what success will look like for you. If at the end of the day you create the dashboard and the company is not able to tell which products are underperforming when that was the objective, then it has failed. But for it to be engaging, anytime they come to the dashboard, they should be able to tell, oh, this looks like this one is underperforming. This product is underperforming. Why? You can see the clear objective of the dashboard. And then they will keep coming. So you see that they are engaged with the what? With the dashboard, because anytime they come, they see that, okay, this product, this one, we are doing better here. It seems December, our sales went up. January, it went down. What happened? If they are engaging with it, chances are that they will come back and tell you that, oh, can you find the difference? Like, how much did we lose maybe between December and January? Then you know that they are engaging with it. But if they go and they don't come back to you with any questions, like, you know that they've put it somewhere, they are using their Excel or whatever is solving their issue for them. So data visualization, have a clear objective if you want to create an engaging dashboard. The next one we want to move to is the power of storytelling. You see, I believe maybe because it's Ghana, I'm going to use Coco Anansi's story. Like, many of us resonate with the Anansi story, because of how it was portrayed, we could identify with it, like some of the things that were used, like language and the by the fireside, like the fireside experience, they were things that we could easily what resonate with. So if we resonate with it, we come back to it. So to be able to create an engaging dashboard, it's important for you to know how to tell stories with your data. You should know how to tell stories with your data. If you can tell a good story with your data, chances are that people are going to use your dashboard. And you see, storytelling is an act. You have to develop it. So the first thing when you want to tell a story is that you should know your audience. Know your audience. Which people are going to use this dashboard? Okay, it's the sales team. Okay, what do I think the sales team will be interested in? Profit? Okay. Maybe profit and loss? Okay. What else would they be interested in? So by knowing the language of the sales team, you know how to what represent the data to the sales team, because maybe you just have one pool of data source coming in, but that same pool, we know that we have marketing drawing from that data, supply chain drawing from that data, then there's an aspect that sales is also drawing from. So if you go and represent everything on the dashboard and you send it to the sales team, chances are that they don't need data representation from marketing. They don't need data representation from maybe supply chain, because they want to know what pertains to them. So to create an engaging dashboard, it's important for you to know your audience. Know your audience. Which people am I designing for? The next thing is for you to what? Focus on the key messages. Focus on the key messages. Okay, they want to know something about KPI. Focus on the KPI aspect. Focus on the profit margin. Focus on the trends. Don't go and be just because you want to fill up. It mostly happens to us. Sometimes when we are designing dashboards, you just want to fill up space on the dashboard. So it's like something that is not even relevant to what you just bring it there. No. You want to create a story. So when you want to create a story, don't introduce characters that are not relevant to the story that you are trying to know. Introduce, like, focus on the key characters. In other words, focus on the key data. What sales want, focus on the sales data to tell the story for them. The other thing is to use clear visuals. Sometimes we can just pick up visuals because we are there. I tell you, not all the visuals in the Power Apps experience or the software is what you are going to use. Chances are that you will not use most of those. Sometimes you just have to pick the things that can easily tell your story. You don't go pick maybe a bar chart when a pie chart can tell your story. Don't go and pick like a heat map when you know that, oh, maybe when I take this, how do I call it? A line chart can easily tell my story. So be clear on the visuals you want to use from the word go. Now, in an era of AI, if you are not sure, just type, ask any of the AI tools you are using, ask, how can I represent this data? This is how my data set looks like. What are the best visuals to use? I tell you, it will come up, it will show you even how to go about it step by step. I mostly focus on security, working with security data. And sometimes when you are representing security data, it's not the same as representing what? Sales data. Sometimes you can search online and you don't have any examples of security data. I tell you, most of the Power BI courses that you do, you see that they are either focused on 2 or 3 areas: sales, supply chain, and sometimes like giving an information like health. maybe COVID something. But when you have to apply Power BI to create dashboard to security, it's a different thing altogether. That said, it also means that whichever field you are in, whether HR, whether sales, whether marketing, whether like you can apply what? These principles to it. So have clear visuals. Also incorporate emotions. Connect with your audience. You see, the stories that sell, like there is this popular movie, Gladiator. I can watch this movie over and over again because of the storyline, because of the language that was used. Sometimes some of the expressions, like, are you not entertained? Like, those things are things that you can come back to, or why it is engaging. So as you are designing your dashboard, don't just be so static that, oh, they said they want this, so let me give them pap, and then no. Make it engaging. Add some form of what? Emotions to it. Yes. So after that, the next thing we have to focus on is, okay, now I know how to tell a story, but how do I choose my characters? Your characters are the visuals. How do I put the visuals on the actual what? Page? So there are different types of visuals available in Power BI. So it's important for you to know your objective, know the story you want to tell, and know the kind of visuals you want to pick. But you see, before you pick your visuals, you have to understand your data set. The data that you have, is it for comparison? Do you want to compare the data? Do you want to compare last year's sales trend to this year's sales trend? You see some comparison. So the data itself will tell you that no, this thing will need comparison. So if you are looking at comparison data, then you know that obviously maybe a bar chart and a column chart or a line chart can help me better, because you want to what? Compare different categories or groups. So last year's data and this year's data, you see some form of what? Comparison between, which comes as a result of what? Knowing the type of data that you have. So again, then you see the importance of what? Preparing the data and modeling the data. Because if you prepare the data yourself, chances are that you know the how the data sets looks like. You know whether it's, I have to compare maybe column 1, column 2, I have to compare last 2 years. You can tell. Then it will inform what? The kind of what? Visuals to pick. So mostly comparison data, we mostly go for bar charts, column charts, and line charts. The next one is what? The data set is distribution. Does it show the spread of data points? If it shows the spread of data point, then you have to focus on what? Visuals that what? Display frequency distributions of a data set. One of them is histogram. A scatter plot displays the distribution of two variables, so you can see. So depending on, again, on the story you want to tell, to create something engaging, you don't go and, when you are comparing something, you go and bring a scatter plot to compare. Like it even the visuals, by looking at the visuals, you can't even tell what the person is trying to say. But you know that if you use a bar chart, the person can easily see that, oh, this is last year's sales, this is this year's sales. So 2023 is on one bar, 2025 is on another bar. You can easily tell. So understand your data, then you know whether it is comparison, it will inform the visuals you have to use. If it's distribution, it will inform. Then we have relationship, composition, and representation. I'll just touch on relationship. So relationship, you want to show the relationship between two or more variables. Sometimes scatter plots can do the trick. Display the correlation between the variables. Or another time, you can just use what? Heat map to show relationship using what? Color gradient. So it's important for us to pay attention. Don't just jump into what designing, but try to understand what you are doing. So those who said they are beginners, I'll recommend the Microsoft Learn Power BI course for you. I think it's PL 300. You can take that course, just go through the process, and it will make a lot of sense. Help you to what? Understand what you are doing. Again, once you understand the type of visuals you want to use, the next thing to ask is, what kind of dashboard am I creating? Is it an operational dashboard? If it's an operational, then you know that you want real-time operations and performance. So that in itself can also inform what you are going to take, the visuals you are going to take. If it's strategic dashboards, usually executives want to focus on KPI. The sales team, they want to, what's the KPI for the year? Like the key performance indicators. That's what the strategic dashboards aim for. So the executives and management, they are looking for what? Those KPIs to be able to what? Make decisions. Then the next one we look at is what? The analytical dashboards. So when you want to analyze what? Historical data to identify trends, predict outcomes, and compare variables. So something like a sales dashboard analyzing historical sales data to identify seasonal trends. Okay, why is it that December, it seems our profit margins go up? Why is it that in November, it seems like it goes down? In January, it seems like no one buys anything. You can use analytical dashboards to what? To determine those trends. The next thing is what? Interactive what? Elements. And interactive elements they are what? Features that allow users to engage with data in a dynamic and meaningful way. So I just, as I was preparing, I thought of bringing this thing up. What do you notice? I just have some few minutes to wrap up. But what do you notice just by looking at these two visuals? What do you notice? It would have been nice to have something in the chat for us. Okay, so you could see that when you are designing, it's important for you to sometimes just follow the things that have been done or the things that have been tested that seem to work. So if you look at this, you could see these are more like rounded corners and one has straight edges for maybe the rectangle or the object you are looking at. If you look at real life, if you take your iPhone or you take most of the phones, you could see that they have round edges. If you look at maybe your how do I call it? Your laptop, depending on the type you are using, you could see that sometimes they have these round edges. It's an intentional. If you take all the Apple products, you could see from their watch, from their phones, from their MacBooks, you could see that they have round edges. Why? It's very intentional. Sharp corners take focus outside the rectangle. So if you are creating your visual, sometimes you can just add a touch of what? Those round corners. It's not a must, but this is what like has been tested. Some find it very easy because the round corners are a bit soft to the eyes compared to this rigid, straightforward. Sometimes you can't even tell where it's ending. So as you are doing or putting up the visuals, consider some of these things. Then try to incorporate what? Interactive what? Elements. When you click on one bar, can you drill down to get more details to the bar? To get more details as to what it is actually saying. Or when you click on it, you can't click unless you go to another page. No, instead of jumping to another page, why don't you add like a drill through or a bookmark or a slicer, like so that you make your what? Dashboard engaging. You click on something, then it changes. Maybe you click on December 2024 from the slicer, then it changes everything on the dashboard. Instead of you have to go to maybe another page, trying to find what you are looking for. Just make it what? Interactive by incorporating what? This kind of what? Elements. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. This always works. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate design. Like for it to be engaging, sometimes just go with the simple, like simple ones. Once you keep it simple, I tell you, people will want to what? Work with it. But when you clutter everything, like there's so much, you are trying to represent a lot of data. It's like people just look and they are wondering, where can I find this? Where can I find that? But when it is simple, they just come, they see what they are looking for because that is what is relevant to them. Use consistent design elements. At this point, I'll recommend Adobe Color. Sometimes when I'm going to design, the first thing I try to do is what? Go to Adobe Color with the company's brand colors. Don't just jump into designing because you like color blue. You want to use color blue because you like. If you look at this slide, I was following a particular theme because that is what I was given. So I just had to follow it. Companies have brands. Your company has a logo. If you want to find out the color combinations in the logo, you can just use Adobe Color. You can either extract a theme from it or create color themes that you can use on your dashboard so that you have what? Consistent colors, color combination, consistent font. Don't be using some different font. If you look at this PowerPoint slide, I use just one font. I don't use different fonts when I just use one font. I pick that font and I use that font throughout in all my slides. So be consistent with your design element and color combinations. So I want to touch on this very critical point, real-time data. When I say real-time data, what do I mean? There are dashboards that the moment they are created, they can only be used for that moment. Afterwards, you can't use it again. That is not engaging. Engaging data, you should always engaging dashboard, you should also take into consideration the need for real-time data. The data set you are using, is this something that will refresh from time to time? Is this something that is connected to a live source that you know that it can change from time to time? Because designing a dashboard takes time and work. So if you just create a dashboard where it ends the moment the first day you introduce it to the end users, it's like they just look at it and the date is still the same, 2024. It doesn't change to 2025 because the data you are using is static data. It's not data that you've connected to a live source that changes dynamically. So it's very important. If you want people to use your data or your dashboard, make it engaging. Always go for what? Real-time data. Pay attention to real-time data because you may leave the company. Once you leave, they don't even know what you configured. No. Okay, so in conclusion and summary, then we'll open up for questions. To create an engaging and effective Power BI dashboard, I spoke about two key things from the TAM model: perceive ease of use and perceive usefulness. If you can get your people to these two places where they can perceive that this thing will be useful to them, chances are that you have an engaging dashboard. If they can perceive that this will increase their performance, you have an engaging dashboard. If you know your audience, you can tell a very good story. And once the story is appealing and relevant to them as a department, you have an engaging dashboard. If you can spend time to prepare your data and model it properly, you have an engaging dashboard. So, for organizations to be able to make very sound decisions, it's important for us to consider all these things so that we can present a dashboard that can be engaging, that our companies can look at and be able to make informed decisions. Thank you. Questions, contributions?
Thank you very much, Samuel. Thank you very much. Questions? Please let us engage any question from the introduction to now. If you have any question, kindly ask. So if you want to come on mute, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. If you also want to do it in the chat, you can also do that. Samuel, so there's a question. Can we get real-time data from Kaggle for practice?
Kaggle for practice. I honestly don't have any idea. I may have to look into that and get back to you on that. If you are part of the user group, then I can probably put that on the page.
I think Kaggle is more like a data house where you can get some particles data, raw data to really work with. So so that's possible.
Okay.
I think there's a question on how do you use the Adobe Color in Power BI?
So mostly once I get the logo from the company, I go to Adobe and I select extract color theme. So I upload the logo to their site. Sometimes I think I used to have an account with them. So I'm not so sure about when you don't have an account. You can easily create an account. Once you upload it, it will either extract the theme for you or it will represent the color scheme and with something like a map and a dot on it. So you choose which ones you are looking out for, whether you want it deeper or lighter or something. You can select all those ones and you see the hex codes for those colors. Then you just pick those colors and you use them for your design. Yeah.
Okay, I think there was a hand up, Samuel. I don't know whether you want to come off mute and ask your question. There was another Samuel who had a hand up, but it went down. If you want to come on mute and ask your question, you can do so.
So I see someone is asking, can we use Canvas visualization in Power BI? Is it the Canva that we use for presentation and designs? Is that what you mean? If you can clarify.
Then there's another question which says that what is the best practice concerning dashboard refresh when you have need for real-time decision making against concerns for limited infrastructural resources?
For real-time decision making against concerns for limited.
So maybe let me explain further. You have data sources that are injecting into your Power BI dashboard across locations. You need real-time decisions to be made. But at the same time, you don't want to be refreshing your Power BI every 30 minutes because the data source is so huge. So it would require more resources to be refreshing. The data is so big and you don't know if the refresh will bring all your data points into your Power BI dashboard. My question is, how do you balance this? I have limited resources. I don't have enough money to buy space to be refreshing every 30 minutes. I want to do twice a day or end of day. But at the same time, I need this real-time data to make decisions, right? Because,
Ben, it looks like you have an idea about you're asking. Any ideas? Anyone who has had a similar experience on the page for us? I think maybe, Ben, you have to move to Fabric. But that said, maybe I'll have to look into it and see. I don't have a concrete answer on it now, so I may not be able to give you. But we can connect on LinkedIn and I can look into it for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
The person is still saying canvas for presentation.
Yeah, I'm sure she's and the person is talking about the normal canvas we use for our presentation. The one
Okay.
you are familiar with here.
Okay, so the question was, is it possible to use Canva visualization in Power BI? If yes, how can we do it? But maybe you have to give me a bit more of context. Are you bringing it in as like an image you've created that you want to import in? Like, how are you bringing it in? Because if it's an image, then it's possible to add images to Power BI. So if it's an image, yes. But if not, maybe you have to give more context to what you want. Yeah. Which set of people are right people to engage when implementing a dashboard? The project team, the actual users of the dashboard. I ask this because most often it's the project team that we interact with rather than the actual end users. Left to me, I'll say you should engage with the end users because they are going to use it. Because the project team, if they will try to tell you how they think the end users want it, but the end users who are actually on the ground know what they want because it's their needs you want to meet. You get it? So that you don't end up having relayed information, because the moment it comes from the end user to the project team to you, I tell you, there will be some distortion, a bit of distortion between the messages from those people to you. So left to me, I'll tell you that go with the end users to know, because they are going to use the dashboard in the long run. So that's what I would say. I don't know if anyone, Fred, maybe you have an input on that.
On which sorry, on which one? Let's be divided here. So maybe I'll try and touch on the one you talked about in terms of the Canva. Yes, as you said, if you have a picture and you want to bring in, you can do that. But you cannot really do your analysis in Canvas. But if it's just a picture you are bringing it in, then you can't do that. There was another question which you were answering, which has to do with, and as you said, that one has to do with the end user, because definitely at the end of the day, there are some key major stakeholders, and the stakeholders, the one you are trying to satisfy is the end user, because if even the person who is even sponsoring wants it in a particular way, and at the end of the day, it doesn't satisfy the end user, then whatever you have, or whatever dashboard you would have built will not really serve the purpose or the need. So it's very important that no matter what, at least you make sure that you engage the end users and report back to the sponsors or the project team that this is how the end users really want it. And make sure that before you carry on with your dashboards, especially when you are building a complex dashboard, you sign off on each of the processes, each of the fields which they really want to be built, so that you won't do something which at the end of the day will not satisfy or meet the needs of your stakeholders.
Yes.
Is there any more question? I think I saw there's a question which is talking about GitHub. It's a GitHub account like a must-have as a beginner before one can. Would you like to take that? Or?
Before, but I want to know, is a GitHub account like must have as a beginner before one can land it?
No, not at all.
Not at all. But what I would say about GitHub is that just so you are able to maybe display what you are doing for people to see, because yes, I've carried out this project. I've used this. Can you show us how did you do it? Like, do you have any reference to it? So you can add your GitHub account to your CV. Some people do it. They have a portfolio page, so you can do that easily. Yeah.
Yeah, and also to add to that, in terms of portfolio, at least you can also build your own portfolio and publish it on Power BI if you can, on the free version. And even if you are in Tableau too, you can publish those ones on some free accounts, so that at any point in time you can make reference to it the same way you can make reference to when you are using GitHub. But it's not like a stopper, which you will say that if you don't have a GitHub account, you'll not be considered as a data analyst, because there are lots of data analysts I know who have no clue about GitHub.
Yeah.
If there's no question, maybe I would like to thank the team for engaging us. Oh, sorry, I think there's one we asked Thomas. What's the difference between a dashboard and a report?
Is it okay if I share a link for you to read Microsoft as a whole?
The whole stuff on the dashboard.
Dashboard, and so which will be very helpful. So
yeah.
Let me see. Some okay. I'll connect with you on LinkedIn and just post that. I had that on my slide because I knew that's a question that mostly shows up. So yeah. Okay. I'll accept you on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Okay. Great. So I'd like to thank you very much for joining. Our next meetup program will be an in-person one. Which will happen at the DynamicsCon, a signature, and that one will be more practical. I know that a lot of people really want practical stuff, things they can really participate in with their laptops and stuff. So we will have one more in person. One, I want to share that in the chat, so you can join us or register from there. So I'm putting the link in the chat. I hope it comes. Okay, yeah. So that will be our next in person. And as I said, we have our major regional meetup, which is the West African one. We're expecting people from across the globe, from West Africa, Nigeria, US, and Europe to join us. I will entreat you to register. Those who like to really be speakers. I did share the call for speakers chat in the chat. I'll do that again. I'm sure some people joined a little bit. No, not this one. Some people joined a little bit late. So I'll share that again. Those who want to be speakers, they can at least fill the form. And it's also very important that if you want to join the group, it's a community. It's free for one to attend. We share knowledge. You get the chance, opportunity to meet experts across various industries in the Dynamics-based Power Platform, and also general leadership and Microsoft products. So I entreat all of you to join up, share the process for which you can join. The moment you join on the meetup, at least whatever information is put out there, you'll get to know about it. And you can join, you can attend the programs. As we have said, our major program is coming off on the 19th of July. It's free for one to attend. And it's a whole day program where knowledge will be shared. There'll be breakout rooms where there'll be interactions. And souvenirs, and there'll be sponsors also in there to really sponsor the program in terms of souvenirs and all that. So I will entreat you to register. We'll share the registration. So first, register on the meetup. The moment the Eventbrite registration is ready, you receive at least a mail for you to make it easy for you to register, so that you can attend that very important program. I don't know if there's any question again. If not, then we'll say goodbye and hope to see you in person in DynamicsCon around Shiashi. That will be on the 19th of April. But our regional meetup is on the 19th of July at the Fiesta. So I'd like to thank you very much. How to join is what I shared earlier on. So first you join the meetup, we'll get in touch with you. Or you can also, I'm sure one of our group members can share our WhatsApp group also. The link where one can join also. We also have a WhatsApp group. I'm not close to my WhatsApp. I don't know if Benjamin or Phyllis can share that. I really appreciate it. Or Jeremy, any of the members who are online, I'll appreciate it if they can really share that in the chat. You can see some Beatrice Ibrahim asking how can she join? At least if we share the link, then those who are interested can quickly join. Is someone doing that for us? So I don't know if there's any question. In terms of the whole group as a Microsoft Dynamic, and also if you really also want to also be a speaker as Samuel is, you can always get in touch, and we'll prep you for you to also come out and speak within the community. And I also like to take this opportunity to also congratulate Samuel for his certification as a Microsoft certified trainer. And well done, Samuel.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any, is someone really putting the chat in there? I mean the WhatsApp link. Well, Ben, you can help us. I know Ben is also in the group. Ben Nathi. I'm not closer to the, because Ben is want to know if someone can share the link for the, let me see what I can do here. Please, any question? As I try to get the link for the DAG Ghana WhatsApp. And note that the DAG, the group, it's international. We have members across the globe. So we have the Kenya group also. Nobody's sharing for me. Okay. I just got it. Okay. So I'm sharing it right now. So that was it Beatrice? So that's the link for the WhatsApp. So you can join through that link to WhatsApp, and you get to know whatever we are doing. Yeah. I've seen that someone has even requested to join. So you can join us through that link, and you get to know what we do. As I said, it's a free organization. There's no any fee for one to charge. And the programs are open. With the programs I showed you earlier on, so far as you want to attend, you can really request to attend. Those who are interested in attending the US one, which is happening from May 13th to 15th, can also get in touch if they really want to attend that particular program. We are willing to support it. Thank you very much, and have a good evening. Thank you, Samuel, for at least joining us at a short notice. I really appreciate the support you are giving to the team, and once again, let me say thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Okay, so thank you everybody, and have a good evening and good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.